I am live. Yes. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's edition of the Lockdown Diaries with Sri Lanka's well-known adventure athlete, marathon man, and Ironman Hassan Esufally. Great guy, a great. He pushes endurance to the limit, and that's what I admire about this young man. So, thanks for joining, everybody. We're going to get going. Susan Bro here. Welcome to the show, everybody else. Glad Platters by Susie is back. I saw your lovely roast pang range. Everybody, so I'm waiting till the young man is here, and then we got to add him onto the show, and we can get going. Hi, good evening. Good to see you again. Right. Now, tell me, what has a double major in management and marketing from the University of Melbourne and a global scholarship award for academic excellence got to do with you being a marathon man?
That's a great question, actually. That's the first time someone's asked
I
me
cannot make the connection.
Well, you know, it's the reason I actually did marathons and etc. is not just to show the physical component, but also the component that you can achieve anything you set your mind to. And me getting an education is also part of that. So I like to, brand myself as not just an athlete, but also an athlete who's gone and, done education, who's done well at school in academics and stuff, and be able to inspire others to do a multitude of things, not just run and do other things, but do anything that you set your mind to, really.
Okay, so you go on record as being the first ever Sri Lankan to run a marathon on all 7 continents and inducted into the 7 Continents Marathon Club. Now, that's a huge achievement. What were these continents and what were the specific locations you did the 7 marathons?
Okay, so basically I had a big goal for it, and I picked each race very, very methodically. In Australia, I did the Melbourne Marathon. And the Melbourne Marathon is basically the reason I did that because I was living in Melbourne, I was studying in Melbourne, I was doing my degree at the time. And it made sense to do that because I love Melbourne. It's a great city, and I chose that and I did my first marathon there. Then I did the IRONMAN, which is again in Australia, but it was a separate event. But I did that to prove to myself that I had the mettle to do the 7 continents and the mental fortitude and etc. So I did that, and then the marathon in Europe was the Stockholm Marathon. And the reason I picked Stockholm is because in Sweden and Stockholm it's considered to be one of the most beautiful marathons in the world. It's quintessentially European, and that's the reason I picked that. For Asia, I did the Colombo Marathon because I wanted to do something in my home country, and there's nothing better to do than that. And
it was not
hard because of the heat and the humidity and etc.
Okay.
Then for North America, I was very lucky. Boston Marathon heard about my story. They said, why don't you come, and we'd like to have you as a runner on our race, and it's the most prestigious one in the world. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna come. And I went there, and it was awesome. But the conditions are really, really difficult in that particular race. Usually Boston is a world record breaking course, and it's net downhill. But the day I did it, it was very, very the weather was terrible. They had the wind and rain and hail in the race. And it was, it felt on my iPhone, it said it was about, it was 0 degrees, but it felt like -5 or something. And my soaking wet before even the race started. So yeah, and it was incredible just to get through that. That was the North American one. For Africa, I did the Big 5 Marathon, which is my favorite. It was a marathon run in
I'm coming to that. Yeah. Okay. So Africa, the Big 5 in South Africa, in the Entabeni National Park, savanna, among the wild animals. Did you really run among the wild animals?
Yes, I did. So
and you lived to tell the tale.
Yeah.
You lived to tell the tale.
You go on safari in Africa, and then you see you see these animals. You see the lions, the cheetahs, the Big 5, basically, the elephants, the giraffes and everything. And then on the day of the race, you actually get to run amongst them. They keep the dangerous ones away, like 5 kilometers away at all
How
times.
do they do that? How do they keep the dangerous ones away?
The way they give the lions is that they feed the lions a meal prior to the race starting. And
so without you being the meal, they've got the meal anyway. So they don't want you.
And lions are very opportunistic hunters, and they only hunt when they're hungry. So if they're fed, they're usually kept quite satiated. And yeah, but and there are rangers around and stuff to minimize any dangers or risks. But it's pretty cool actually. It was really awe-inspiring to run like in that environment, in that African savanna, when you can almost touch the giraffes, touch the like rhinos, elephants, and you're running across these beautiful plains, and you're seeing the sunset go down, and like the animals running across. It's beautiful. It's really really amazing. Like and also and during the race was also very much and had an African centric vibe in South Africa. That all the aid stations had an African drums and dancers. So I actually sat down and danced with some of them during the aid stops and stuff. So it's pretty cool, yeah.
So it was a fun experience. Did you have any hair racing incidents or experiences in the savannah out there?
Not really. I mean, it was pretty. I mean, I felt as if it was a very happy event. You know, everyone was in a good mood. My fellow competitors. We stayed in camp actually for like 4 nights, 5 nights in total. But we ran the marathon on the 3rd day. So you got to actually. It was a small group of people. So you got to actually know your fellow competitors and stuff quite well. And yeah, it was pretty amazing. Like to see lions and to see all those animals so up close and up front. And it was my first time in Africa and South Africa. So yeah, it was awesome. No,
your next one, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Your next one was the Inca Trail Marathon in 2018, officially the toughest in the world, which ends at Machu Picchu. Why the toughest in the world?
So the reason for that is it's officially the toughest marathon in the world. The reason for that is because it's very high in altitude. So when you're running, you're breathing like, and pretty much the entire way. You start at a level of like 11,000 feet, and you go up to I think 16,000 feet. No, sorry, 14,000 feet. You're climbing up. You start at 2 in the morning. You wake up at 2 in the morning. You start the race at 4 in the morning in complete darkness. So you got to like navigate with like a headlamp on your head. So you can get lost. There's altitude, then the weather changes as well. So in the morning, it's like really cold and damp. Then you go through this cloud forest, so it becomes quite hot and humid. Then when you're going up and up and up into altitude, it becomes there was snow at the top. And then you're descending down into the Amazon basin as well, so there's rain. So you have to deal with all these different weather conditions. On top of that, the trail is very undulating. It's up and down the entire way. And the kicker is that the Inca Trail, to hike, it takes 3 nights and 4 days. You're given a time limit of 13 hours to finish the entire marathon. So that's a huge thing as well. So that's what makes it the toughest in the world. And I'm super like, the reason I did that is because it finishes the Machu Picchu. It's quintessentially South American for that particular continent. And it was inspiring to be the first Sri Lanka to finish that is part of the 7 continents was really, really amazing. Like something I'll never forget.
Sounds hair racing. The next one was your Antarctic Ice Marathon. They accept only 50 contestants for this marathon. And you've been running on ice with an average wind chill temperature of minus 20 degrees against the strong katabatic winds. What is katabatic winds or katabatic?
So it's basically the winds that blow in Antarctica. They're very strong and they're quite violent at times.
Violent, okay.
Yeah, so they're very strong. They take a lot of snow with them. So the conditions were very difficult that particular year because the underfoot snow conditions are about 3 foot deep. So you had to basically every time you stepped in the snow, your foot would go inside, and it was like running in sand but cold sand. So you had to be really careful, and I wore spikes in my shoes to make sure I had enough grip as well. It was windy, and you couldn't see like 5 meters ahead of you as well. So because there was like a blizzard and snow, you could.
So how do you know how and where to go? Blizzard, rain, cold, snow, and then you can't even see 5 meters ahead. But you're still going. Do they mark the trail?
Yeah. So basically, it was like a circuit. Luckily, they had basically changed the route because of the conditions to make it 4 loops around a 10 kilometer track rather than 2 around 21 kilometers. Okay. So there were flag markings to ensure that we didn't fall into a crevasse or something, but it was not easy. Like it was difficult even with that. Like if you took off your glasses, you would be like you couldn't see anything. It was a complete whiteout because the sun in Antarctica is also 24 hours of sunlight. So the sun bounces off the snow.
Yes, 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 yeah. It blinds. It's blinding light. You spoke of, you used a nice word, metal. What metal do you have?
So,
METTLE. What metal do you have to make you do all this?
so I think that it's not anyone can build their metal or their mental strength, and basically it just comes down to a series of habits that I do every day, and those habits are basically I exercise every single day, and I do it very consistently. I eat 5 small meals a day, and the way that I do it is I structure these small meals in a way where I eat equal portion of protein, and in those small meals I have five rules. So I eat
Okay, describe your 5 small meals per day.
Okay, so basically I eat 5 small meals. That's the first rule. Second rule is that I eat every 2 to 3 hours. I have an equal portion of protein and carbohydrates per meal. I eat low salt, sugar, sodium, and fat. So I don't cut them out, but I have them in very low, small quantities. And the magic thing that makes it all sustainable is that I do it in an 80-20 fashion. So 80% of the meals will be in that structure and that format. So 28 will be in that way. And then 7 small meals will be whatever I want. So if I'm out with my friends, or out with my family, or doing something, or elsewhere on a road trip or something, or in the jungle or something, I'll eat whatever I want. So it makes it very sustainable. I've been doing it since 2012, for like 8 years now, and it's helped me achieve a lot. And I also meditate every day. I read. I listen to audiobooks every time I'm working out. I visualize and give myself affirmations. I tell myself I am going to become an Ironman. I am going to become the first Sri Lankan to run a marathon on 7 continents. I used to walk around in my room with the Sri Lankan flag, pretending like I had crossed the Antarctica ice marathon finish line. And I do this like for different goals as well, like for financial goals, for business goals, career goals, education goals. And I think that it's important to also have set goals that you want to achieve. Because if you have goals, then you know exactly where you want to go, and then it's just a matter of putting the work and having a plan and strategy to get there. And it's not anyone can do it. It's honestly it's not magic, or it's not like I don't think I'm more talented or anything than anybody else. It's just a matter of being persistent and determined and never giving up, and not taking no for an answer. Yeah.
So, do you ever binge on a massive lamb fry or a biryani on a Sunday afternoon?
I love the follow-up question to that. That was brilliant.
I couldn't resist that.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I do. I love lamprey. It's my favorite Sri Lankan food, for sure. Yeah. So like
that's full of oil. It's tasty. It's full of oil. It's rice. And then you go to sleep after lunch on Sunday afternoon. Then what happens? The breaking down of all the fat and all that stuff. The metabolism that happens in the body.
Yeah, so I do have cheat meals from time to time, and
cheat meals. I was waiting for that. Yes, I was waiting for that. The cheat meals.
Because how can you sustain yourself without that? So I think that's another thing that lots of people who are in the fitness industry don't really say. But I think that it's important to cheat from time to time and give yourself the guilty pleasures, because if you don't, you're not going to keep you're going to go insane. You have to be able to enjoy yourself and give yourself the freedom to this thing without feeling too bad about it, because that you can just get back on track after that. So yeah, and it's okay to
it's okay to get up and go again, right? So you did meet Jayanti Kuru Utumpal, the first ever Sri Lankan and the first ever Sri Lankan woman to summit Mount Everest, and then there was Johan Pires, who also shares the same name with your uncle Johan, who actually connected me with you for this show, Johan Benedict. So Everest is also on your list?
Well, potentially. I'm looking at it. It's a long way away, but they've definitely inspired me to think about it and consider it for sure. I definitely want to do Everest Base Camp, and that's something I'm one of my goals that I'm training towards, the New York Marathon Everest Base Camp. But Johan and Jayanti are amazing. They're such nice people, so humble, so down to earth. And
what is it in them that that inspired you? See, Johan went up there the first time, and he was 400 meters away, and he just could not go there without oxygen. He would have been a corpse, a frozen corpse there. He turned back. You can sit, but you can't go there. How did these two people, Jayanti and Johan, inspire you?
In a lot of ways. I met them at an event, and then I got introduced to them, and I got in contact with them. They were just so wonderful and so helpful. They actually came to my house, and I met them outside on occasions. And before I went to Antarctica, they told me what kind of gear I needed for the Antarctica Ice Marathon, and I actually put a treadmill inside a freezer and I ran inside it at minus 20 degrees
What?
for training for the Antarctic Ice Marathon. I did that once. I went to like a factory, drove my treadmill there, and then it was incredible. So yeah, they gave me like tips on how to do it, how to handle all that, and yeah, they're just nice people and they're very humble. And Johan, especially, he wasn't able to complete the first time, not because of anything to do with him, but because of the technical
The oxygen, yes,
oxygen.
yes.
Yeah, but, I mean, the fact that he went again and then did it was just amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
So your new goal is the Marathon Hall of Fame. What does that entail, and what does that require that you do?
So the Marathon Hall of Fame is basically for anyone who completes the 6 biggest city marathons in the world. So that basically those are Boston Marathon, New York Marathon, Chicago Marathon, Tokyo, London, and Berlin marathons. I've already completed Boston as part of my 7 continents, and I completed Chicago last year as well. I've been chosen for New York this year, so we have to see how everything goes with regard to how that works. And then I also, and in the future, I want to be able to do London, Tokyo, and Berlin as well. So we'll see how all that works out.
You said that Boston is the most prestigious of them all. Why? Any reason? If I heard right.
Yes. So the reason that Boston is the most prestigious is because it's the oldest marathon in the world. So it's basically the oldest marathon. It's been running for over 100 years, and you have to qualify to get in. So that's one of the reasons. So you have to meet a time limit. But for me, I was so lucky that I didn't have to do that because they just invited me to come, and that's what I'm saying. It was really, really special for that they did that. And yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible. That's why it's the most prestigious. It's been historic. It's been going on for a long time, and it's the course is also the exact same course every year. Sometimes marathons change their courses depending on what the races are, but with Boston they don't do that. Yeah.
Now, tell me, when you're out there in whatever kind of situation, condition, terrain, what goes on in your mind?
I mean, there's so much that goes on, but I mean, I'm listening to music all the time. There's so much of there's the scenery, the fact that I'm in another country. There's and there's obviously I'm focusing on the goal of the marathons as well, and yeah, I mean it's been there's a lot of things going on. It's not just the finish line. There's a lot of pain and suffering, and I definitely go through a point where I think, oh man, am I going to be able to do it? You know, is it going to be possible to even finish the race? There are doubts and stuff, but I mean, if you mentally train yourself to do something, then you can do it. And yeah, I mean, with anything, like even with the like, for example, like even getting the funds to do this. It was not easy. I got like rejected so many times from potential sponsors. For every 20 companies I approached, one would say yes, 19 would say no, and it's just a matter of being able to be persistent and go with to do the races and stuff. So yeah.
Have you failed at any time?
Absolutely, so many times. I fail more often than I succeed. It's just that people remember the successes more than the failures. And people see the highlights, not the downtimes. But the ones closest to me know that the processes that I go through and stuff. And there are so many experiences. Like I had just finished the Chicago Marathon, and I wanted to climb this mountain really badly as a preparation for Everest. And I didn't do it. I failed, and it was really sucky because I mean I paid for it. I wanted to go, and I was wanting to do the sunrise. I got to the top. I saw the volcanic explosion like close to the top. But I wasn't able to do the sunrise, and that was the first time I failed at doing something physical, and it really hurt. Like it really sucked.
Hurt how?
Emotionally, it really hurt because I was just like, am I how is this happening? Like I thought I was fit enough. Like you have all these doubts, and then you think, then it's just a matter of getting back out and then doing something, doing again, going again. It's just you got to be able to pick yourself up and do it because. I mean, I believe that that failure is part of the formula for success. You have to fail in order to succeed, I think.
You and I are having a chat here, and there's another chat that's going on the comments, if you can see. So we choose to ignore the mud, and we choose to go on. Now tell me, you spoke about metal. Metal is, I would call, okay. What is your equation between your body and your soul? The both are contrasting, but they need to be in tandem also. So could you say, in somebody out there who wants to be a marathon runner, for example, tell him or her how you equate this. What do you do to body and to soul? You did answer part of it earlier on, I know, but what is this equation of yours? The winning formula.
So basically, if you want to run a marathon, you've got to be able to do certain things. Number one is you have to be able to go outside your comfort zone. Because if you're doing a marathon for the first time, you are going to mess up. And there's no doubt about it. If you're doing anything for the first time, you're going to mess up. So you have to be willing to take that on, and then basically be able to go forward with that. You have to be able to do long runs, which are runs that are 25 kilometers plus pretty much every week. Because I was doing the 7 continents, I was doing that. You have to be able to do fartlek runs, which are basically runs above your threshold and stuff. And then you have to be able to do high intensity interval training runs as well, and be able to be prepared for all kinds of conditions, especially if you're doing adventure type races as well. So yeah. And the marathon, there's a specific diet as well that you got to follow. I forgot to talk about carb loading. So this is the best thing. This is the best thing about it. So
carb loading, wow.
So the week before the race actually starts, you can do, I can pretty much eat anything I want, which I gorge on things like pasta, pizza, ice cream, lampreis, and stuff. So basically, it's about filling your muscles with glycogen so that you have enough energy to finish the race have enough energy to finish the race on the weekend or something. So, and you basically don't train, and then you basically, the graph goes like up, down, up. So that's how you do the races. Yeah.
Before a marathon, how long is your training period? See, you would have a consistent fitness level at all times, I presume, with your training. But specific training for a marathon, how many weeks or months does that entail?
Depends on the race, actually. So it depends. So when I did the IRONMAN, I did it, which is the 3.86 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer bike ride, and then a full 42.2 kilometer marathon run, done in a 17-hour time limit. That took 10 months to train for. And I did 8 months of training alone, and then 2 months of training with a professional coach in Australia. And then the actual other marathons, it depends on the races, but some took 3 months, some took 7 continents. That I took an entire year off for that, and I sacrificed a lot for that. And yeah, I mean, it depends on each race basically. But I had a long-term plan in order to do this. I really wanted to do something amazing for the country, and I did it for 4 reasons. I did it for good reasons, you know. I wanted to do something amazing for country, for Sri Lanka, in order to bring glory to my home and where I was born. I did it to inspire other people and be an example, so that, you know, if I can do it, then they can do it as well. And then if you want to achieve any goals in life, then you can be this thing. Then also, I guess this was part of it, but I mean, I wanted to build a brand for myself in the fitness industry, and I was able to do that. I raised money for a good cause. I usually donate some funds to UNICEF and underprivileged children, and in both in Sri Lanka and Australia as well. And it's one of the causes that I'm proud of. I also raised money for the victims of the Boston Marathon bombing, and then the personal reason was I just thought it was a cool and fun way to travel and see the world, really. So,
a cool and fun way to travel the world. Oh, wow. And a very fit way as well.
Sorry?
And a very fit way of doing it. What about sponsorships? These are expensive projects. So what about sponsors and sponsorships?
So basically, my wife we were very smart about how we went about this, and you have to be. Basically, what we did was there was a lot of media going around when I announced to do this, and we basically just leveraged that in order to get sponsorship for this. So it was expensive, but we were able to meet all the costs because of the fact that we were just persistent. And we had a very professionally done proposal. We had a website, Facebook page, Instagram. I have YouTube now as well. And basically, what companies want is media coverage, and they want to be associated with someone who is genuine and someone who has aspirations to do good things. and that's what I was able to show, and I was able to come across that way. And I think I am genuine in what I do, and I want to just help other people grow up and come up in life. And I think that companies resonated with that, and I was able to get funding in that way. But it was not easy. I got rejected significantly many more times than I got a yes. And it's just about, like I said, going through the failures. And the worst thing is when people don't even reply. You ask them, they say yes, they maybe, and then they don't reply. And then I would rather get a no than get a maybe and not have any conversation.
So now the fact that you have proved yourself to yourself and to the world that you certainly are an adventure athlete, you're a marathon man, and you're with all that you've done. So from this point onwards, you might not have a problem with sponsors, because they know that they are investing in a product that is worthy of investment, and that you are genuine, and you also give back to the world, to your country, and to the world.
Exactly. I mean, and that's the whole point. I think I'm in a position now where I have, I'm able to give back, and all these awards and accolades or whatever that come, it's not really the purpose of it. The purpose of it was those 4 reasons, like I mentioned. And I think that if you chase after those things, if you chase after, I think, money or fame or awards or recognition, that is actually the wrong way to go about it. Because, I mean, you should be happy with yourself intrinsically, and then those extrinsic things will come. And if they don't come, it doesn't matter. If they do come, great, it's a bonus. But I mean, I did it for those 4 reasons, those personal reasons, and yeah, it was amazing. And I was happy to have people, great sponsors. I mean, someone's asked the question, actually, who are my sponsors? I've got great sponsors. I've got Adidas as one of my sponsors. I've got Red Bull as one of my sponsors. The Sri Lankan, I was able to get some government sponsors as well. I got a private equity firm, a bank, and variety of different companies. So it was really good. Yeah.
If you had not been a marathon man, what would you have been in life? If I was not talking to you today, or you for what you are right now, whom would I have been talking to?
I would have wanted to do something inspiring. I think that I just had that in me, and I just wanted to do something that would change the world. Because at University of Melbourne, I met some fascinating people. I met some people from all walks of life who had done incredible things. And I was happy that University of Melbourne, kind of like Oxford and Cambridge, they have a college system. And I belong to a college called Ormond, and it's kind of like, it was amazing. It was like Hogwarts. It was like a dream.
Okay.
It was incredible. So yeah, I mean, so I met people. I met this guy called John Muir, and he is won the Order of Merit of Australia, which is like the best civilian award that you can win as an Australian. And we went on a week camping trip with him, and he basically told me how he's traveled to all the 7 continents, how he's climbed Mount Everest, how he's done all these amazing things. And you got to ask him the ins and outs of how he did what he did. And it was incredible. I mean, it's hard not to be inspired by people like that. And we got to, and it was at the end of the week, you had to spend a night alone in the forest and use all the survival skills that you learned. And then basically, you had to write a letter to yourself that night that you would receive a year later. And it was posted to us exactly on the day, and you had all your thoughts that you wrote down. And and you basically, it was incredible looking back, because spending a night alone in a forest, there's snakes around and stuff. You got to pitch your own tent to make your own food, rough it out completely in the jungle. And it was a mad survival training. And really that really, because before that I guess I was comfortable, and that really pushed me outside my comfort zone as well. So yeah.
So that meeting with that guy is what actually triggered this entire process in you.
Yeah, I mean, I saw an ad in the paper for the Melbourne Marathon. I was due to do the marathon the week after that, exactly 1 week after this week with him. This week with him happened, like we had to apply for this thing, and then you got chosen to go for this if you got lucky enough to get in. And I was lucky with a group of other guys. We got into this, and went on this week excursion, and it just changed my mindset really. Like, I didn't even know how you could even get to Antarctica prior to meeting him. I didn't even know like people could go there. So I mean, it was pretty cool. Like even and people ask me how to get to Antarctica now. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
See, in your life journey as who and what you are in the field of endurance and sports, how do you react to negativity and to any kind of negatives thrown at you?
I don't let it bother me because I know that it comes. It's just haters gonna hate, and I know that it just comes with the territory. If anyone's successful, then they're going to have some kind of haters, and that's just the nature of the game. And I think that if you are true to yourself and you know who you are and you know what you're doing and you're doing good, then you have nothing to prove to anybody. You just have to just keep going where you are, and you can type. Haters can type and say things, but it's about the man in the arena. Not the person.
See, you're still very young. You actually this young man's birthday was last Friday, the 5th of June, and he entered his 30s. So now it's 30s and not the 20s anymore.
Yeah.
You have a long way more to go.
I'm not 30, by the way. My wife says I'm 29. I'm 29, by the way. Not 30.
You mean so you completed 29 years on Earth last Friday?
Yes. So I completed 29 years old.
So you have entered. So on the 6th of June, what for you? You are entering your 30th year.
You try to say I'm old.
Okay, I think we shall agree to disagree on that. You spoke of your wife. How supportive is she of these crazy things you do? I mean, you're out of the house for like months or weeks on end.
You know, she's made so many sacrifices, and she's been, the real rock behind what I do. And she's been so supportive and so amazing. And she's the one who's like, developed the proposals and she's the one who wrote down all the costs. I'm like kind of like the bigger thinker. Like I'm very open-minded and like to take risks. She's very much more into the details of all these expeditions and things. So she's helped a lot. She's been emotionally supportive, physically supportive. She's traveled with me for some of the races, and then except she's traveled with me for everything except Antarctica. And yeah, it's been incredible to know that she's got my back no matter what. So yeah, it's
what is your greatest dream? Your dream in life, in the field of what you're doing.
I think I'm living my dream. I think that I'm really happy with where I am, and in what I've done in life and what I'm doing, and the way that the person that I am and what I've achieved, and the way that I've been able to impact others. And I mean, I want to be able to basically leave a legacy that says if he can do it, then anyone can do it. Because it's not if you believe that anything is possible, then anything is possible. And really, it doesn't matter if you're starting from a place where you don't have the fitness to do a certain like a physical goal. You can get there. You don't have the finances to do a certain goal. You can find a way to get there. You don't have the whatever. You don't have the knowledge to do a specific skill. You can learn it. There are so many ways to do things. You just got to be open-minded and have an open heart and go for it, really. So yeah.
No, just as all of us are, so are you coming out of a kind of 3 months of lockdown.
Yeah.
What did you do with yourself these 3 months? I always call this word introspection. We looked at ourselves in relation to ourselves and the world around us. So what was your experience with yourself locked down in 3 months?
So it was actually, I used this time really effectively. I mean, I wasn't working. So basically I just used, I read a lot of books. I did a lot of audiobooks. I learned some good habits. I did like 10 online courses, courses in videography, in editing, on YouTube, on how to optimize social media. I did a mini MBA course. I did a course in finance, in personal finance, in business. I read many books on entrepreneurship. I read how to grow a personal brand. I use this time very effectively. I worked out. I did like workouts for other people and etc. So I use this time very, very effectively. I thought it was a unique opportunity to push yourself outside your comfort zone. I started a YouTube channel. So yeah, I mean, it's been very productive time, and I'm not saying it was easy, but if you have like I said, if you have the mindset of constantly pushing outside your comfort zone and growing and being able to do good things, then yeah, good things will come in. It's all about your habits in the end,
I'm going to ask you a rather nasty question, but then I'm telling you that I'm going to ask you a rather nasty question. Say
Sorry?
Should I not? Maybe it's an unfair question, but I don't know. It just came. See, if there was no social media, but you did achieve what you have achieved very, very laudably, how well would you have been known? It's a rude question.
No, it's a fair enough question. I mean, the way basically, I mean, I was very lucky that I was able to be covered in traditional media as well, and in the newspapers.
I
And
was looking
TV.
at that as well. Yes, yes. So that also played a role.
I mean, I was there, and social media was just an added component to it. But I never did it for all of that. I did it for those 4 reasons, like which I mentioned, and the things that came with it just came with it as an add-on, really. And I think that's where people this thing, because if you chase fame, it's never going to make you happy. It's never going to make you happy. You gotta, I mean, yeah, it gives you a high or whatever and makes you feel like, okay, it's there. But I mean, I never considered myself more important than anybody else or anything like that. Just normal guy who just, you know, has big dreams and is persistent enough to do them. So, I mean, that's basically my attitude towards it. And I think that people who, if you're chasing those things, if you're chasing external success too much, then you're gonna be pretty empty when you get it, because you got to find other things. You got to true happiness comes in your relationships, your goals, your purpose in life, and those things. So yeah, I think that if you have that first, then the rest will come naturally.
See, Hassan, you're almost half my age. You did not chase fame, but fame came to you as the result of what you did and what you achieved. So when you're my age, 30 years from now, 2060,
Yeah.
or whatever, what would you be? As a 60-year-old Hassan Esufally, who would that guy be? I would be dead for sure.
You know, no, not at all. Don't say
it's
that.
It's too long.
But you know, like I look at people who are that age, and they inspire me. Look at someone like Richard Branson. I mean, he appeals to people in my age as well, because he finds a way to connect with you. So I mean, I want to be, I wouldn't say like him, but I want to be doing something like that. You know, doing something where I can still connect to a younger audience, still connect to different people, and help them in their lives. Hopefully, I've achieved even more at that point, and been able to inspire more people. But I think I'm the kind of person who constantly needs a goal and needs something to look forward to and keep pushing myself. I'm not someone who's like whoever gets complacent or sits on his laurels or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I'm grateful. And I think that also in the meditation process that I do, gratefulness is the first component of it, and then the second component is
gratefulness, gratitude to whom or what? Being grateful to whom or what?
So for things in my life, for people, things. Basically, I think of three things in my life that I'm grateful for every day, and that really puts me off to, like, I start my day with that, and it puts me in a really good mood and in a place where I'm not needing or wanting things. I'm happy, but I also want. And then the second part is goal setting, and the third part is visualization. So basically, it puts you in a mood where you're happy, you're in line with what you have. Then you put you in a mindset of goal setting where you want to achieve something in the future. And then the final part is visualization, where you think of yourself as already having achieved those things. So those things just happen automatically. But you can't just sit there. You got to work. But yeah, I mean, if you do that, then things work out. Maybe not in the way you expected, but they do.
Do you think a lot?
Yeah, I would say I'm an overthinker.
You're a what?
Yeah, an overthinker. Yeah.
Define overthinker.
Like I tend to. This is why my wife helps me a lot. I'm being completely honest. It's the first time I've spoken about this, but yeah, I mean, I do tend to think about things a lot and run through different scenarios in my head and stuff whenever making a decision. I talk to my wife and talk to people close to me, and then run through the decisions and run through the different how it could end up and where I could go and etc. And then when I make a decision, I stick to it. So, but yeah, I mean, I tend to think through things a lot.
Think logically or think illogically?
Both.
Or both?
Both. For sure. I mean,
so
I'll give you an example. Like for the Inca Trail Marathon, I was sitting in the hotel room like the night or the 2 nights before the race. It was the last night, because the night before you had to actually go and spend the night in camp. So you actually do an 11-kilometer hike a day before the race and then run 42 kilometers. So 2 days before, I was in the hotel room, my wife and we were running through all the checklists of the items, and I was overthinking, like, have I forgotten anything? What am I going to do at this point? Because you have to calculate exactly how much fluid you're going to take, exactly how much carbohydrates you're going to take, exactly how much electrolytes you're going to take. I was overthinking, like, oh shit, like I was getting anxious, like, am I going to take the right amount? Am I going to puke? Am I going to have enough? Am I carrying too much weight? What will be the time limits if I don't have this much weight? So, and then I came up with a plan not to eat all that. And then my wife also calmed me down and stuff. So you go through all those things, even when you're setting a big goal. Like for example, like right now, if I think of New York Marathon or Everest Base Camp, I don't know what everything that's going to happen in those things, but I do know that I want to do them, and I do know that I'm going to try my best. But yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Everyone, I don't even know like some of the equipment that I need, but I will figure it out. And if overthinking helps me figure it out, then that's fine. So yeah.
Have you ever had panic attacks? Well, having said all you said now.
No, I don't think I've had like really bad panic attacks or anything, but I did on the Ironman. I did have a pretty bad experience. Like when I was on the bike during the race, it was like about 100 kilometers into the bike, 180-kilometer bike. I'd already done a 4-kilometer swim. I was so depleted. You're so low on carbs. You almost feel like you're going to die. Like you're so depleted. You're so depleted on carbs, sugar, salts, electrolytes. And then you feel like, oh my God, like I want to stop. And I think that moment really changed my life, because I wanted to stop. I was gonna, because the newspapers had covered that event and stuff, and I was thinking to myself, what do I say? What do I say now? Like, if I want to stop, how do I like, say this? And then I just, luckily at that point, there was a scooter going by, which was like an official, and so the next 8th stop is about 2 kilometers away. If you can get there, we can give you some salts and stuff. So I just cycled to that. My goal was just to get to that stop, and I was just constantly asking that girl, like, how far away is it? Because 2 kilometers felt like 20 kilometers in my head. Dying. And I stopped, I got off the bike, and there were people at that stop crying because they just could not continue. Because that's the point where people give up. Like halfway through the bike is point. And I had fallen off the bike many times. I'd vomited because I'd eaten too much, and I was just so feeling really, really low. But I took the carbs and I said, okay, I'm just going to break it down into small portions. Let me try and get to this thing. I got to the bike cutoff with 12 minutes to spare, and got onto the run, and I was able to become an Ironman. So, like I said, you gotta be persistent, and that moment changed my life, because any insecurities I had, like about whether I was good enough to finish something or anything like that, went away. Like I was like, okay, now I know that I can go to the lowest place that I've ever been and still come out on top, and that's the mindset that's really helped me,
So always you should be good enough for yourself.
Correct. Yeah.
That's where it all starts.
Yeah.
Right. I've come to my last question, but anything you'd like to say to people out there watching you, haters included, people you think you can inspire people out there who want to do what you're doing?
I think that it's honestly anyone can do it if you really set your mind to it, and anyone can achieve amazing things. Everybody has reservoirs of untapped potential, and it's about being true to yourself, and being able to go outside your comfort zone, be persistent, don't take no for an answer. If you fail, it's okay, pick yourself up, get back up again. You will have lows, you will have moments when you think, oh, am I going to be able to finish this? Am I going to be able to finish what I start? But if you really want it in your heart, and you write down your reasons why you're starting, then you can do anything you set your mind to. And that's a legacy that I want to leave behind, because the way I think about it is that this life is temporary, and it's how you impact others that keeps your memory living after even you're gone. So I'm happy that I was able to, I guess I was able to achieve something at a young age, but that just puts me in a position where I want to give back now and help others, especially young kids. Like I go to schools and give talks and inspire kids and tell them that anything is possible. And I've asked kids, I was like, what is your 7 continents? And then some say, I want to be the first, I want to be an astronaut, or I want to be a doctor. I was like, running 7 continents, or doing an Ironman, or climbing Everest, or whatever it is, may not be for everybody, but the mindsets and the lessons that come with that are for everybody. And that's the things that I want to pass on. So, yeah.
You almost answered my last question, the question I still have not asked you.
Yeah.
So tell me, finally, to close the show, how best do you want to be remembered one day when you're gone?
So like I mentioned, in those ways, I want to be remembered as someone who was a go-getter, someone who inspired others to be the best that they can be, someone who had lived with no regrets, went after what they wanted, was able to have an impact and achieve something constructive in their life, and be able to maybe set a path or draw or be an example for young people or even older people to do something, because you're never old, it's never too late to start, it's never too late to begin something, or and it's never too early either, so it's always the right time. Exactly.
Young man, thank you very much for being my guest on the show, for sharing your life, your stories, your dreams and all that. Good luck to you, and may you go from strength to strength. Thank you so much for being my guest on the show.
Thanks a lot, Kumar. See you. Bye.
Thank you so much. So thank you very much for being on the show, everybody. We meet you again in 48 hours from now on my last ever show. So Monday, the 15th would be the last ever lockdown diaries. As I told you, we're out of lockdown, we're out of curfew. I mean, almost no curfew, almost. So life has come back to normal. We got to close the show and then move on in life. So my last guest would be Corinne Almeida. You know her, a sizzling singer. In fact, I've always called her the sexiest woman in Sri Lankan showbiz, and I still maintain that. So catch you in 48 hours from now on Pulse. In the meantime, everybody, stay safe and don't let your guard down. Corona is still very much around. Good night, everybody. Bye.